In 1860, when our lighthouse was built, the most powerful internal light source you could have was a whale oil lamp. So the question is, how do you take the light of a whale oil lamp and make it a navigational aid 20 or 25 miles out to sea? What they did is they bought this Fresnel lens from a company who invented it in Paris in 1830. And in our lighthouse, which is the sixth order, the most powerful kind, it uses 399 prisms to bend and thus concentrate the light.
Nice.
And there's a little tool inside the lighthouse that shows you how you could do that. Now, when you climb the lighthouse and you get to the top, you'll see that those 399 prisms have been configured into 4 bullseyes. If you look very carefully, one of those bullseyes is held together with some brass. And in 1928, we had a very powerful hurricane that came through here. May God never give us another one like this. Sandblasted the lighthouse, broke the outside glass, and actually was powerful enough to break one of those bullseyes. All they could do was pick up the pieces and hold it together with brass. Because the Fresnel company was out of business, you couldn't get a replacement part.
Oh, wow.
And the patents that showed how the Fresnel lenses were made burned up in the Paris warehouse in the 1880s, and they've never been duplicated.
Wow.
Kind of cool, 190 years ago, and they could do something we can't do now.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, we cheat. We use a 1,000-watt bulb and electricity. It works like a charm. But, you know.
Wow.
Was that the same hurricane that
1,000
wiped out Okeechobee?
You know, I don't know. That's a good question.
Like
It's not
the
the same
20s.
one that they did that wiped out the railroad to Key West, but
Yeah.
that was, I think, in the 1930s. But I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, we're going to get historical today.
Oh, indeed. Well,
Thank you so much.
one little last piece of history. This spot has been continuously inhabited for 5,000 years. The earliest human habitation in Florida was 6,000 years ago, so this is right up there with it. We don't know much about those archaic Indians, but they were part of that mound building tradition. So if you look over there, you'll see that the land has been raised. Actually, it's not very impressive. It was originally 25 or 30 feet high, but when they were building US 1, somebody said, "Oh, look, landfill." And they took it.
No.
But of course,
Were those the shells like they
Yeah.
have at Du Bois?
yeah, absolutely. Well, in Du Bois, you know where that house sits on that?
Yeah.
That's more likely what this mound looked like. So
Huh.
they were probably 25 or 30 feet high when you think about all the time that, you know, they deteriorated.
That's their lookout, the Indians' highest points, their lookout points.
Well, they built everything on mounds, whether it was ceremonial, residential, or graveyards, because it kept your feet dry. Also, if you're up high, you got a breeze. If you got a breeze, you did get many biting insects. So they were pretty smart.
That is,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Indians we do know are a tribe called the Hobe and Haga. Hobe as in Hope Sound.
Hope Sound Indians.
And
Check it out.
they greeted Ponce de Leon here in 1513 when they came through. Unfortunately, the Spanish brought European diseases. By 1730, 1740, all the indigenous people in Florida were killed.
Oh my
The
God.
Seminoles, who I always thought of as the Florida tribe.
Was that the ones that came
it
in
what
here with
tribe?
the chicken pox, the smallpox on the blankets?
Yeah, well, no, I think I don't know.
That was some crazy.
That's some crazy stuff. I can tell you, a lot of the Indians. The last battle of the Second Seminole War was fought here in Jupiter, 4 miles that way, Riverbend Park,
Wow.
and they. A lot of their dependents. Well, we didn't win that battle, by the way. At the very least, it was a draw. A lot of the Indians went back into the woods, but a lot of their dependents had to stay here and help cut a path down to with the military down south to a place called Fort Lauderdale. Of course, the commander of that expedition to cut the path through the woods was a guy named Lauderdale, so that's where that name comes from. But unfortunately, they were taking them down there, and a lot of them wound up on that trail of tears.
That's so sad.
So, yeah, well, people aren't very nice to each other, you know.
Well, we got to change
Worldwide,
that.
if you know anything about history,
We're in the middle of changing all that.
I hope so.
If I came here for anything, it was definitely to change that.
Good thing to change.
Are we done with the bureau?
Yeah.
Okay.
So have a,
Brochure.
have a good time, guys.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much
Nice to
for
have you
all
here.
that information.
Yeah, have a great day. And nice weekend.
Do we know where we're going?